November 21, 1943, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Washington, D.C. A radio light flicks from red to green. In living rooms across America, dinner plates are pushed aside, chairs scrape the floor. The war pauses, not at the front, but at home. A familiar voice fills the air. Drew Pearson, measured and precise, begins to speak. He does not raise his voice. He does not need to. Pearson tells the country that one of its most celebrated generals, George S. Patton, has struck 2 hospitalized soldiers in Sicily, slapped them, called them cowards, demanded they be returned to the line. The words land without music, without warning, without defense. Within hours, the phones begin to ring at the War Department, on Capitol Hill, in newspaper offices that smell of ink and hot metal. Letters flood in by the thousands. Some are furious, some are wounded, some are deeply personal. A United States senator stands before microphones and says the unthinkable out loud. Robert Reynolds demands that Patton be brought home and court-martialed. This is not gossip, it is not a rumor, it is a public reckoning. And it comes at the worst possible moment. American armies are preparing for the largest invasion in history. Trust in leadership, in discipline, in moral authority matters as much as steel. The army cannot appear cruel, it cannot appear out of control, it cannot appear indifferent to its own wounded. Patton is everything the moment fears: violent language, ruthless standards, unapologetic speed. Across the Atlantic, in a quieter room, the news arrives by paper and wire. In London, the War Cabinet does not debate American justice, but one man reads the reports and does not flinch. Winston Churchill has seen this kind of officer before, and he knows what firing one might cost. London, late November 1943. Downing Street is dimmed for a blackout. The city breathes quietly under rationed light. The papers arrive folded, clipped, translated. American headlines travel fast. The language is sharper than the Atlantic wind. Slapped, abuse, unfit to command. In the British War Cabinet, the discussion is careful. No votes, no minutes meant for public ears. This is not their decision. Patton wears an American uniform. His fate belongs to Washington. And yet, silence does not mean indifference. At the long table sits Winston Churchill, shoulders heavy, cigar unlit. He listens more than he speaks. When he does, it is not for effect. Churchill has spent 4 years watching democracies fight wars they did not choose, led by men who were often easier to like than to trust. He has buried generals who followed the rule book perfectly and lost. He has also defended commanders who broke etiquette and delivered results. The distinction matters to him. In his private world, where history is written in pencil, not speeches, Churchill is more direct. Alan Brooke, the chief of the Imperial General Staff, records the mood in his diary. Brooke does not quote Churchill for drama, he writes from memory. Patton, Churchill believes, is a fighter. The word is chosen deliberately. Not a gentleman, not a model officer, a fighter. Brooke understands what that means. Britain has its own difficult men, commanders who exhaust subordinates, alienate allies, and still somehow win. Churchill's view is not sentimental, it is utilitarian. War is not a moral seminar, it is a test of outcomes. And outcomes are approaching fast. Operation Overlord is no longer theoretical, it has dates, tonnage, names. It will require commanders who move faster than confusion and harder than fear. The Americans are still learning that lesson. Britain learned it the expensive way in 1940, alone. Churchill does not say Patton is right. He does not excuse the slaps. What he rejects is the idea that victory can be managed by removing every dangerous personality until only safe men remain. In a cabinet discussion, he frames it as a loss, not moral loss, strategic loss. To discard a commander who understands armored warfare, tempo, and intimidation over incidents already disciplined internally strikes him as wasteful.
But there is a boundary he will not cross. Churchill will not intervene publicly. He will not call Washington. He will not issue a statement. This is alliance politics at its most delicate. Britain cannot be seen protecting an American general from American outrage. That would harden resentment, not soften it. So Churchill does what he has learned to do best when power is limited. He influences privately. He waits. He lets others argue the obvious out loud. In Washington, the pressure builds. The War Department faces a dilemma no manual covers: how to punish a general without destroying him, and how to keep him without endorsing what he did. Churchill watches from across the ocean, convinced of one thing. If America fires Patton now, it will not be because he failed in war. It will be because he offended the peace. Washington, D.C., late November 1943. Inside the War Department, the corridors feel narrower than usual. Files move hand to hand, doors close softly. No one wants their voice to carry. The men now weighing Patton's fate are not moral philosophers. They are logisticians of violence. They count divisions, shipping space, and months left before the invasion of France. And yet, the question in front of them is not operational. It is political. At the center stands George C. Marshall, calm, disciplined, and acutely aware of civilian authority. Marshall understands something Patton never fully did. In a democracy, generals serve twice, once to the battlefield and once to public trust. Marshall has already acted. Patton has been reprimanded, forced to apologize publicly to the soldiers involved, removed from command in Sicily. His record is no longer spotless. But the calls continue. Congress wants blood, not correction. Newspapers frame the issue as character, not context. A general who strikes the wounded violates more than regulation. He violates the story America tells itself about why it fights. Across the Atlantic, Eisenhower receives the same reports. Eisenhower knows Patton better than most, knows his brilliance, knows his volatility, knows that neither can be separated from the other. Eisenhower also knows that Overlord will not forgive hesitation. The choice is impossible because every option costs something essential.
Fire Patton, and the Army proves it will enforce standards without fear or favor, but it also discards one of the few commanders who understands how to exploit chaos at speed, the kind of commander you do not train, you endure. Keep Patton, and the Army risks appearing indifferent to cruelty. It tells the public that victory excuses behavior it would never tolerate in peace. Churchill's view, unspoken but understood by those who share his experience, hovers over the room like smoke. Wars are not won by committees, they are won by men who frighten the enemy more than they frighten their own superiors. But this is not Britain in 1940, this is America in 1943, a nation fighting far from home, still explaining the war to itself. Marshall's solution is narrow, deliberate, and unsatisfying to everyone. Patton will not be fired. He will not be promoted. He will wait. No command, no spotlight, no explanation beyond the discipline already administered. Officially, he remains useful. Unofficially, he is placed on ice, preserved, but unavailable. It is a compromise born of fear of losing a weapon and fear of being seen to keep it. Churchill, reading the outcome weeks later, recognizes the decision for what it is: not forgiveness, not condemnation, a wager. America is betting that it can control Patton's excesses without losing his edge, that it can carry a dangerous man until the moment danger is required. History will decide whether that was wisdom or delay. England, winter 1943-1944. The rain does not stop, neither does the waiting. George S. Patton is officially sidelined. No combat command, no divisions are moving at his order. His name fades from headlines as quickly as it once filled them. To the public, it looks like accountability. To the enemy, it looks like something else. In German intelligence reports, Patton's absence is suspicious. They have watched him in North Africa, in Sicily. They know what he does to tempo, to morale, to uncertainty. Men like Patton do not disappear without reason. The Allies understand this too.
Patton is given a task that is not a command, not a punishment, and not entirely real. He is placed at the head of a phantom force, an army that exists in tents, radio traffic, and plywood silhouettes. The deception plan has a name: Operation Fortitude. Patton plays his role perfectly.
He inspects imaginary units with real intensity. He moves conspicuously. He allows himself to be seen, to be photographed, to be talked about. The Germans conclude the obvious: Patton is being saved for the main blow. They are not wrong. In this strange exile, the logic Churchill had argued privately becomes visible. Aggressive commanders are not ornamental. They are psychological weapons. Even idle, Patton shapes enemy expectations. And yet, the cost remains. Patton knows why he is here, knows that his career now hangs on restraint, something he has never valued. Letters home are bitter. He believes himself misunderstood, mistreated, caged. The army watches closely. Any misstep will end him for good. This is the real consequence of the decision not to fire him. Not survival, but probation. Patton is no longer trusted with freedom, only with usefulness. Churchill, observing from London, sees the pattern clearly. The alliance has not absolved Patton, it has compartmentalized him. Violence directed outward is tolerated, violence inward is not. When the invasion finally comes, when Normandy burns and the front stalls, there will be a moment when speed matters more than decorum, when hesitation costs lives. That is the moment Patton is being saved for. The irony is sharp. The general, nearly destroyed by public outrage, becomes central to deceiving the enemy before the greatest amphibious assault in history. The man accused of lacking discipline is used because he understands fear, how to create it, and how to exploit it. The scandal never truly disappears. It is simply outrun by events. And when Patton is finally released back into combat, it will not be because he has changed. It will be because the war has. August 1944. Northern France. The front breaks open not with elegance, but with velocity. George S. Patton is back in motion. Third Army unleashed across France, moving faster than maps can be printed. Towns fall in hours, rivers are crossed on instinct. German formations disintegrate not because they are destroyed, but because they cannot keep up. This is what Churchill believed would be lost. Not a man, a method. Patton does not redeem himself morally. There is no apology tour, no transformation. The same traits that horrify the public now terrify the enemy. His army burns fuel at impossible rates and advances anyway. Speed becomes mercy of a different kind. The war ends sooner for those caught in its path. From London, Winston Churchill watches the results without comment. He never says, "I told you so." He never claims ownership of the outcome. Privately, he understands the cost of being right too early. The United States also learns something uncomfortable. It learns that democratic armies cannot always afford leaders who reflect democratic virtues, that victory sometimes depends on men whose personalities must be constrained, managed, and occasionally hidden rather than celebrated. What was gained is clear: momentum, shock, a shortened war in the West. What was lost is harder to measure: moral certainty, the illusion that strength and decency always align. Patton survives the scandal. His reputation does not. It fractures. To some, he is the general who slapped the wounded. To others, the man who drove across France like a force of nature. Both are true. Neither can be separated. Churchill's judgment, preserved only in diaries and recollections, never becomes speech. It remains what it was at the time: a cold assessment, shaped by 1940, by defeat, by the memory of what happens when nations demand perfection in the middle of catastrophe. The war is won, the alliance holds, the decision fades into footnotes, but the verdict remains. Patton was not kept because he was right. He was kept because war does not reward virtue,
it rewards effectiveness. And that truth, once accepted, cannot be unlearned.